Hey guys, it's Kim. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to Eastern Cryptid Encounters. So to summarize today's story for you, it's about a guy from upstate New York who believes he encountered a Sasquatch. So if you guys like hearing stories like these and you want to hear more about them, then just hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit that bell, turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of these stories. So let's jump right in. The old barn. I grew up in a little town called Woodstock, New York. Back in 1995, I was a teenager and had a pretty normal life. After school, I would do my normal chores of feeding the animals and making sure they all had water. Well, on one afternoon, I got done with all my chores. I decided to go for a walk with my dog. Now, Bob was a German Shepherd I've had for 2 years. He was a very smart and protective dog. Yes, he was a good dog. He was very protective. I mean, if I went outside on the porch, he was right there. After we had walked for about an hour or so, he stopped all of a sudden and started just staring into the woods. Thick part of the woods, just in front of us. Now at first, I didn't think much of it. I just figured he saw or heard a deer or something. Now mind you, this story, there's woods all around. So you got thick woods on one side, all around you. So you could have seen anything. Or maybe seen something and not really been able to tell actually what you were looking at. Well, after about a minute or two, we started walking back to the house, which was about a half a mile or so. As we got closer to the barn, my dog kept stopping and looking behind him. But at the time, I never heard or seen anything. So later that night, after supper, we went on to bed. Now I sleep on the second floor in our house and have a window facing the old barn. Now, this property is on a very heavily, it's heavily wooded, woods all around. And these old houses, you can look out the window and, you're looking at a barn, say, 100 feet from, the window. So that was a pretty good distance. About 2 in the morning, Bob started growling out at the window. I asked him, "What do you see, boy?" I walked to the window and looked out, but saw nothing. The next day after school, I did the chores and took my dog for another walk behind the barn towards the woods again. Now mind you, there's, behind that barn, there's, just very thick wooded area. And almost at the same place, my dog reacted the same way once again. But this time, I did see a glimpse of something in the woods. Not sure what it was, because it was almost dark, of course. So we decided to head back to the house. Once again, about 2 a.m., my dog started growling at the window again. By this time, I was starting to get upset because I was really tired. I needed sleep. I was exhausted. I was just wanted to fall over. So I looked out the window, only this time I saw something standing at the corner of our barn. It looked like a big man that was all black or wearing all black. So I ran downstairs to tell my father that someone was in our barn. My father and I went on the porch to see what was going on, but seen nothing. So he said, "You probably just seen a bear or something." Well, the next morning, it was a Saturday, and I started my chores early. I wanted to just get my chores done, get them over with so I could go exploring. So I put on my boots and went to the barn. When I got there, I noticed the barn door was open and some of the animals were gone. Where's the animals? Where could they have gone? What could have actually, walked in the barn and took the animals and no evidence of where they were at. After looking around, I found some big prints. Now at this time, I really never heard of a Sasquatch. My father called the game wardens and they came out to look around and they said it was probably a bear or coyote. Now I saw them looking at the footprints and grouped up and talking to each other. They were taking pics and the one was on the phone, but I was But when I asked about the prints, they just said, oh, we have to document them, but they was from a bear. I mean, who documents footprints of a bear unless they have evidence that it killed, a human or something? Nobody takes prints of a bear. So I got to thinking, they first said a bear or coyote, but yet now they said bear. That just didn't make sense to me. So after about an hour went by, a black SUV pulled up and 2 guys got out wearing black suits. Then they went over to the prints and started photographing them. I was thinking to myself, why are they taking pics of all these if it was just a bear? Well, after about an hour they left, and the warden came over and told my dad that if we see this bear again, contact them as soon as possible. I mean, now really, if you think it's just a bear, then why would you tell them, why would you tell them to come back as soon as possible? Heck, you can shoot a bear yourself with a gun. So apparently they had to think it was more than just a bear. Well, about a week went by, and nothing really happened. But the following Friday night, once again, about 2 a.m., my dog woke me up, growling. So I got up and went and walked to the window and looked out to the barn and saw 3 of these men-looking things standing beside the barn. I didn't know what I was looking at. So I went and got my father again, and we went out on the porch and shined the light toward the barn. As the light hit the corner, I heard my dad say, "Oh my God, what the hell is that? That thing is huge." We went back in to get his gun, and when we got back outside, it was gone. My father called that warden back, and they was there within 30 minutes. They told us to stay in the house. After about 15 minutes, we heard a helicopter flying extremely low over our property. Really? Why would you be flying a helicopter over someone's property just for the purpose of trying to find this bear? We heard gunshots in the distance, but never seen anybody else that night. So eventually we went to bed. Now, I don't know what really happened that night, but we never had anything else strange happen again. After about another week went by with my father trying to figure out what went on that night, the 2 guys in the black SUV came back and had a short conversation with my father. Now, I don't know what they told him, but to this day, my father won't talk about it. So what do you guys think don't you guys think that story was strange? They had to think it was a Bigfoot. Nobody flies a helicopter over heavily wooded, thick property like that just looking for a bear. So if you guys think you have any clue or anything as to what this animal could have been, please leave your comments. I would love to hear from you, and thanks for tuning in.